Hi there, welcome to day 2, and today's topic is around time saving. It's that elusive time that just slips away, and particularly with business owners, there just never seems to be enough hours in the day. So I wanted to share with you a couple of tips that are tried and tested that I've used over the 10 years that I've been running my businesses to help me really utilise the time that I have. The first tip is apps. It's like embrace technology. So I've been an iPhone girl and have used them from the very early days. And if there's an app that you can discover to help with finding all sorts of things, then I'm the first one to download it. So I have attached at the bottom of the video today a list of all the different apps that I use, and I dare say that you'll be familiar with some of them, but I'm hoping that there will be some that you will find useful. So I'm a Xero girl. I love Xero for my accounting, and that's because I have a lot of memberships and that sort of thing, so it's a really easy way of being able to create a replica email or a subscription, that sort of thing. There's a bit of time consuming effort at the beginning to set it up, set a new customer account up, but when you've done it once, it's just almost like a click and go. So that's the first one that I use for my accounting. And bear in mind, there are lots of different types of apps for lots of different things. These are just the ones that I use for my business that I recommend. For tracking my mileage in my car, I use Mile IQ. So that it just uses the SatNav GPS system in your phone, and as soon as you get into your phone, it starts tracking the miles, and basically at the end of each journey you just swipe from right to left as to whether it's business or personal, and it all just collects and gives you a monthly breakdown of the miles that you've travelled, and that will you can just upload that straight into your Xero system. I also use Receipt Bank, so it's a great way of just taking a photograph with your phone of every receipt that you get. I think most business owners are pretty renowned for being a bit rubbish with their bookkeeping and accounting. Well, these are great ways of just being able to do it as you're going along. It takes a few seconds, you can keep on top of it. I remember pre-app and automation days feeling totally overwhelmed by this great big box of receipts. So it's a really great way of being able to just do it as you go. So those are the 3 that I use from a business point of view on a very regular basis. The next ones are more of a leisure thing, but also just time stealers. So the first one is Spotify. I love Spotify. There are free and pay for versions, and I find the free version really good as long as you don't find the adverts too annoying. The adverts don't come up too often actually, and it's just a great way of putting playlists together. So I have a yoga playlist, I have a motivational playlist, I have Sunday easy listening playlists, all sorts of lovely playlists depending on what sort of mood I'm in. The next one is Trainline, and I find this brilliant for when you're planning a trip and you can prepay the tickets. You can use the app on your phone now, you don't even have to print your tickets off. Really great way of finding out where you need to be, what time, and how you can connect all the different trains up if you're going on a particularly complicated journey. And the final one on my list is Audible. Audible is great if you're on the train or you're doing lots of journeys and you perhaps want to listen to a book rather than reading it. Personally, I like to read business books, but with things like it might be a motivational business book or something like that, They're really nice to listen to in the car if you've got long journeys, making the most of your time. And the nice thing about Audible is that they do the first 30 days for free. So you could download a book and just give it a try. I downloaded The Secret and I kept it for a couple of months on the trial basis so that I could listen to The Secret in the car. One final app is Genius Scan. It's a good professional way of communicating information. Perhaps you've had a meeting with someone and you want to be able to take a photograph of it with your phone and send it across to them. It automatically puts it together as a PDF and then you could just email it directly to them. It's a nice way of keeping a record of documents if you're working regularly with a client. So as I said, some of these apps are free, some of them are paid for. There's a download at the bottom today which will give you a breakdown of certainly the prices that I've paid for these documents. And I just want you to bear in mind that even if you see the total price of this software as perhaps £50 or £60 a month, imagine how many hours of work you will be saving by utilising these different apps. If you're charging £40 or £50 an hour for your services, it pretty much equates to 1 hour of your work. And imagine if you were delegating it to someone, perhaps someone more junior or an assistant in your office, how many hours of work that would equate to. Even if they were on, you know, £10 or £15 an hour, it really quickly adds up. So I found it to be a much smarter way of working for me. I feel much more in control too. And then finally, my other bit of advice for you is a completely different subject, but on time saving. And it's think about the times that you have to communicate the same message. And think about if you were able to video that so that you could simply send them a video. And I'll give you some examples of that. It might be a general overview of what you do as a business and how you do it. It might be training, so you might have a certain level of staff where perhaps there's lots of people who are starting all at the same time, or you might have a high turnaround of staff for whatever reason. For example, if you were running a restaurant and you needed a certain level of training that you needed to communicate with them, and you didn't feel like anyone else could do it, it was something that you needed to do. Why wouldn't you video that and then perhaps set them a questionnaire afterwards to sense check whether they'd actually absorbed the information? So every time you're delivering a session, and it has to be you that does it, have a think about how you could communicate that in a video. And again, it might be a bit of work at the front end to get it set up, but imagine the hours that you'd save if you've got that where you could just press a button, send it as an email, or get them to log into a little training portal. Absolutely invaluable. So that's easy for me to say, isn't it? See you tomorrow where we'll be covering another subject. See you then. Bye bye.